When you're at the grocery store picking out the perfect apple or grabbing a loaf of bread, do you ever stop and think about how it actually got there? I mean, the whole journey. It starts on a farm, of course, but it's fueled by something most of us never see: money. A ton of it. Today, we're going to dig into the hidden financial engine that powers all of modern farming.
So when you picture a farm, you probably see the tractors, the endless fields, maybe some cows, but what's the one resource that makes all of that possible? What does it really take to keep a modern farm not just afloat, but actually thriving?
Well, as important as sunshine and good soil are, the real engine of modern agribusiness is capital. It's a constant, massive financial journey, from the moment a single tiny seed is purchased to the day that fresh produce hits the grocery store shelf. So let's break that journey down. We'll start by looking at the basic pieces of this puzzle. Like, what even is agribusiness finance, and why has it become so absolutely essential to the way we eat today?
Okay, so at its core, it's all about this. Agribusiness financial management, it sounds a little intimidating, right? But really, it's the art and science of getting the money you need, and then, and this is the critical part, using that money as effectively as possible. It's all about making every single dollar count out in the field.
So, what is all this cash for? Well, the financial needs of a farm are incredibly diverse. I mean, we're talking about everything from the smallest inputs imaginable to the most enormous infrastructure projects. Let's start with the basics, the stuff that keeps the heart of the farm beating. Just to keep the lights on and the operations humming along every single day, a farm needs a steady, reliable flow of cash for all its recurring expenses. This is what's known as working capital. It covers all those seasonal costs between planting and harvesting, seeds, fertilizer, that kind of thing. It makes sure you have the right inventory on hand, that your skilled workers get paid on time, and that your team gets the training it needs to stay sharp. This is the absolute lifeblood of the farm's annual cycle. But okay, beyond the day-to-day grind, farms have to make huge purchases to build up their capacity and get more efficient. These are the long-term investments that really build the farm's future. This slide really gets at that long-term vision. We're talking about capital expenditures, buying powerful new tractors and harvesters, building massive storage silos or high-tech greenhouses, and of course the big one, acquiring more land or improving the soil you already have. These are the physical building blocks of growth. But here in the 21st century, farming isn't just about getting bigger, it's about getting smarter and more resilient. And taking that leap forward, well, that requires a whole other category of strategic investment.
And this just shows the incredible complexity of modern farming. It is not just about land and tractors anymore. Farmers need capital for precision agriculture tools, things like drones and GPS. They need it for risk management, like crop insurance, for expanding into global markets, for vital research into new crop varieties, and to comply with a growing web of regulations. It's a lot.
So with all these different needs, from seasonal costs to buying land you'll have for 30 years, it totally makes sense that you can't just use the same type of loan for everything. Just like a farm has different seasons, farm financing has different timelines. And as you can see in this table, it all breaks down pretty logically. You've got your short-term financing that covers operating costs and is typically paid back within a year. Then there are medium-term loans for assets like machinery, usually paid back within 5 years or so. And for the biggest investments, like buying land, you're looking at long-term financing that can stretch out over decades. So we know why farmers need money and the types of loans they get. But where does all this funding actually come from? The answer is a surprisingly diverse and evolving financial ecosystem. Yeah, it's definitely not just one source. Money flows into agribusiness from traditional banks, for sure, but also from government programs, member-owned cooperatives, private investors, and a whole host of other specialized players. Let's look a little closer at who they are. On the traditional side, you've got your commercial banks offering specialized ag loans. You have credit cooperatives, which are actually owned by the farmers themselves, so they have a real vested interest. Then you have the huge development banks funding major national projects, and all the way on the other end, microfinance institutions providing crucial small loans to small-scale farmers. But then there's this whole other world of sources, and this is where it gets really interesting. Governments often step in with grants and low-interest loans. Private equity and venture capital are now pouring money into ag tech innovation. Even the companies that supply seeds and fertilizer will extend credit to farmers. This rich, varied landscape means there are more options for more types of farms. Okay, so with so many options on the table, making the right choice is absolutely critical.
For this last part of our explainer, let's put ourselves in a farmer's shoes for a minute and walk through a checklist for borrowing smartly.
You've figured out what you need, you've found a potential lender, and you're ready to sign the paperwork. But hold on. Before you commit, what are the crucial questions you absolutely have to ask to protect your operation?
Here's your guide. First, compare interest rates. That's the direct cost of the money. Second, understand all the terms, especially the repayment schedule and any penalties. Third, hunt for those hidden fees. Fourth, know exactly what collateral is on the line. Number 5, research the lender's reputation. What are people saying? And finally, ask about flexibility. Farming is unpredictable. Your loan should have some options.
So the crucial point is really this. For a farmer, making a smart financial decision is every bit as important as planting the right crop in the right season. One decision feeds the other, and together they ensure the health and the future of the farm.
And that leaves us with a final, really vital thought. We've seen how farming is becoming more technologically advanced, more data-driven, and way more complex. So the big question for the future is, as technology transforms our farms, how will the world of finance have to adapt and evolve to meet the needs of the farm of tomorrow?